What's up, guys, and welcome to today's video. Hope we're all good. Today, I will be providing you with some old school OG fitness content. The type of content which I used to make a lot of back in the day, but I don't do so much of it anymore. But I can't neglect those people who subscribe to me for the fitness content. So here we go. Let's bring it back, shall we? I will be reviewing some of my older videos. Now, believe it or not, I was actually pumping out fitness content back in 2016 and 17. And this little series which I want to do today is reviewing these videos which I made back in the day, discussing the top 5 exercises you should be doing for each muscle group. I actually went through them the other day and I realized that there's quite a few things which I don't really agree with so much anymore. So let's start off with chest, shall we? If we go back to the 5 chest exercises you should be doing, which is racked up as it stands 8.3, nearly 8.4 million views. Oh my God. I don't even know how it managed to get that many views. I think I was just lucky with the time at which I was putting out this type of content, and probably because the thumbnail is quite eye-catching. Anyway, what did I say? The first exercise which I recommend that everybody should be doing is the flat barbell bench press. Now, I would probably not be putting that in my top 5 anymore. Reason behind that is not because it's a bad exercise. It's certainly a good exercise. In fact, it's probably the best exercise that you could possibly do if you want to get better at the flat barbell bench press. However, if you want to build a big chest and that is your sole goal, your absolute focus, then I would probably say there's other exercises which you should do instead of it. The reason why I personally don't do flat press anymore is because of the risk. It is slightly more of a riskier movement because of the position at which you're pressing. You are more restricted with the range of motion, and a lot of issues with rotator cuffs, the shoulder joint, tend to arise from pressing excessive weight with improper form. Now, if you've nailed your form, then you probably won't be suffering from any of these issues, but most people really haven't nailed their form when it comes to doing barbell bench press, and they lift too heavy, and they often ruin their shoulder. So what I would do now, and what I have been doing for the past 5 years or so, is I've replaced this exercise with the incline barbell bench press. Yes, you could argue you're maybe engaging fewer pec fibers, or certainly around the lower to mid range, but the range of motion is greater. It's more of a joint friendly movement when you're pressing at an incline. So for me, that is an exercise which I've been doing more of. Generally, I want to focus more on my upper chest. And of course, I want to be lifting long into the future with no shoulder issues. So I would replace it with incline barbell press. The next one I have suggested is the incline dumbbell press. Now, I would probably still agree with this, not necessarily solely the incline press, but any kind of dumbbell press from flat all the way up to about 45 degrees. I think this is an essential exercise for you to have in your list, just because it's an exercise you can do anywhere. You not only work the muscle fibers, but also stabilizing muscles as well. And you can vary up the positioning of the incline so you can target a lot of the fibers from the upper to the mid or even lower range. So we're going to keep that in the top 5. The next exercise which I have on the list is the incline cable fly. Now, I'd 100% keep a cable fly variation in this top 5 list, but I probably wouldn't set myself up like that anymore. I haven't done that one for a very long time. I would just use a seated upright bench and position myself a little bit further away from the cable station itself. And I'd also vary between using the cable station where the cables are close together and the one where the cables are far apart, just so you can alternate the resistance at different points in the strength curve. I always still recommend doing these over dumbbell flies, because when you're doing a dumbbell fly, you get a lot of resistance at the start of the movement when the muscle's in the stretched position, but when you are bringing the dumbbells up on top of your torso, there's almost no resistance, so the shortened position of the pec really isn't being trained at all. The next on the list is the decline dumbbell press. Now, I would disagree with this. I wouldn't put it in my top 5. In fact, I probably wouldn't even put it in my top 10 anymore. First of all, because it's just a really awkward exercise to perform, particularly if you're doing it by yourself. First of all, you're positioning yourself upside down on a bench, and then you have to grab these heavy dumbbells from the most awkward position and then just go ahead and press. It's not the easiest to do unless you have a spotter. There's actually far superior ways to hit your lower pec fibers. I would suggest replacing it with a machine. In fact, I'm surprised that I didn't even include any kind of machine pressing in this video. Maybe because it was 6 years ago and the pressing machines are just not as good as they are today. Today, there is an endless amount of pressing machines available, particularly if you live in big cities with an abundance of gyms available. Out here in Dubai, there's an outrageous selection of pressing machines. And the advantage of pressing machines is the risk of injury when picking the weights up in the first place is reduced. Second of all, if you're training by yourself, you can really go to failure and not have to worry about the weights falling on your face. And you can even take advantage of doing these rest pause sets, which are really good to do. So I would replace the dumbbell bench press with any kind of pressing machine. Which machine you would go for is completely dependent upon what section of your pecs you want to try and hit. But I would suggest some form of decline focused press machine to make the most of going really heavy pressing at that angle. The final one, which I have gone for, is the standing cable fly. Now, again, I don't really know why I've included this variation. I've already got a cable fly in there. So we're really just changing the angle at which I am crossing my arm over my torso. I guess what I was trying to suggest with this one is doing this variation, you hit more of your lower pec fibers. But I really just don't enjoy doing any kind of standing cable fly because there's a lot of stabilizing required. And when you get to the point where you really are lifting quite a lot of weight, it's quite hard to keep your torso fixed in position. And then you end up moving about a bit and cheating just to move the cables towards each other. So I would replace this with a pec deck or any kind of pec fly machine if there's any good ones, but can't go wrong with a solid pec deck machine. So that is currently my top 5 go-to exercises which I would recommend and what I'm doing in 2023. If you can just get extremely good at executing those 5, then I see no reason why you would struggle to grow your chest. Of course, add some variations, do some different exercises from time to time, but I would definitely recommend that you've got those 5 in your top selection. If you are struggling in the gym, you have no idea what it is that you should be doing, or you've hit a plateau and you need some proper guidance from somebody who knows exactly what it is that you should be doing, then I highly suggest that you check out the Thirst app. I have endless amounts of training programs in there with the recommendations of the rep ranges, sets, tempo, exercise selections, and the appropriate splits that you should be following. Link in the description if you would like to find out more. And don't forget to stay tuned for all the other muscle groups which are coming your way. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.